Well, hello everybody. This is the Twisted Pair. Well, wait a minute. Well, I'm still graybeard, but Ash Red seems to have an invisibility cloak or potion or something on her because I see her
Where's
chair. But
Red?
where is Red? Where is Red?
Uh, she went out of the country to,
I, whoa, wait a minute. You look like her and you sound like her. Are we sure that you're her?
I'm not sure. Watch, as soon, so there's a funny story, and this week has been a week, and today's been a day, and I grabbed my cigars, I had a whole pack ready to smoke, all excited. Then my grandson just went, like the projectile, exodus thing.
Oh yes, the fun one.
Yeah, the fun one. So I had to help clean up, and in that process, I cannot find where I put my pack of cigars. I'm talking like a big pack. I've retraced my steps. I've gone everywhere, and it's just me and my daughter. So there's no one else to help, and she's trying to take care of the baby and get him all cleaned up. So yeah, I'll find my cigars later.
Well, maybe she'll run across them while she's taking care of Mini Me, and can bring them out to you. But until then, you did find something to smoke because I mean
Yes,
there's a reason why we call this the Twisted Pair, right?
yes, there is, and like I couldn't smoke another cigar because I'm wearing a Rojas shirt right here. Team Rojas. It's the same color as green and gold. But I'm going to smoke the Jeremy, and that is, golly, it is raining here. If you can't hear it, so that is actually made by Noel Rojas. It comes from Lake Worth Cigars, and it's we always support our local brick and mortar. It's a local brick and mortar out in Lake Worth, Texas, close to Fort Worth. And Jeremy is one of the owners, and he and Noel blended the cigar, and it's got some similar features to the unfinished business. So that is why I'm going with that. And I guess hell and high water came pouring down on me this week because, dad, it, I can't find my unfinished business. So anyway, that's
Well,
what I'm smoking.
I did find my unfinished business, and so I am smoking that. And I don't know if he's on yet, but Bert kept on challenging me, and he called me out and he said you cannot bring another vodka other than Tito's because that was the challenge. And he knows. I mean, Tito's is a good vodka. Don't get me wrong. It's just not a vodka that I typically go with. But
Right.
looky here.
Okay. So,
We have witness. I have my Tito's.
so I have Tito's, and it's the same one. The 25th. I have the 25th anniversary. Is that which one do you have?
I have the standard Tito's handmade vodka, Austin, Texas, award-winning, old-fashioned pot still. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
this is the one. Is like I'm not spending a whole lot of money on something that I'm going to use
hmm
primarily in mixed drinks afterwards. So I went with the standard bottle.
Okay. And
And
then,
what's funny is
oh,
I went and got it today. So I had a friend come over. She needed some help with her website and some help with kind of restructuring her business plan and such. And so I asked her if she wanted to make a quick trip to Total Wine with me, and she's like, "Oh,
mhm.
sure, I'm always down for Total Wine." So we went in there, got it, and came back. So
So,
you know.
mhm. As you see, I'm getting my food ready.
Oh, wait a minute. That's right. We do have food with us, don't we?
Yes, we
Because
do.
that is our theme. We're doing full food. So yeah,
Yes.
here's.
Well, and I kind of wanted to say something real quick with the vodka. So I I was curious. I had mine chili.
I had mine
I've
chilling
had mine
too.
chili, and then I had my glass. my chilled glass because I wanted it chilled. And man, welcome to Texas where the storm, it sounds like it's about to hell over
I,
here.
I'm hoping it
So,
waits until we're done here and until my kids are back from the ball game here because well, she's at the Ranger. My kids are at the Rangers game right now,
yeah.
so I'm wondering what's
Well,
going
and
on
it's
there.
enclosed. It's enclosed, so they're good because we have that beautiful new stadium that was built right after COVID. So it all is enclosed. My kids graduated from there because of the COVID mandate. I had two babies that graduated during COVID, so that was real fun. So the challenge was Tito's and chicken fajitas. So
Yep.
I have my beautiful chicken, rice, and bell peppers, and some tortillas right there. So, and I also have some beans, like nothing. I like corn tortillas, and I'm gonna go on a Texas rant here for Tex-Mex, right? You have white corn tortillas, and then you have regular yellow corn tortillas.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of white corn tortillas. It will totally mess up and make your food taste nasty. That's all I'm gonna say. That's my personal opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own. So that's what I have with mine. It's corn. So I'm not sure what kind of tortillas you got.
So, Bill and I will get to that question in just a minute. Um, so I ordered my fajitas, and the picture of them didn't show that they were going to come naked. My chicken fajitas came naked, so I had to. So I found got some salsa and some diced tomatoes and kind of dressed them up a little bit. But I've got no bell peppers, no onions, nothing else of that that comes, standard in fajitas. So really, kind of what I'm going to be eating is chicken fajita meat tacos. Um, white corn flour or white corn shells, and I'm
Oh,
with
like,
you. I mean,
oh,
I prefer the yellow corn, but
hell, okay. Hell came down. I said hell or high water, and it is helly out there.
you did
Yay!
say hell or high water. Sounds like we
And
got
we're
hell
getting
and high
hell,
water.
and we got high water.
Now,
So,
do you have your is your vodka on the rocks or is it straight up?
it's straight up. It's just in a chilled ice glass right here. And then
I did bring some rocks out.
you did. That is
Yeah,
good.
just in case I needed it.
So I kind of wanted to show off mine a little bit because hell and high water came down, and some people have a funny sense of humor. So this is what you call a shaggy foot. You see it's like not the wrapper doesn't close it all the way. We talked about this. So this
Hmm.
has a shaggy foot. It is a longer cigar. I know there's some Matra in there, but as far as the other blends, they're undisclosed because that is how Jeremy wanted it with Lake Worth. But it is a phenomenal cigar, and it is one that I've had this one about 2 years now. So it's already a dadgum good cigar, and it's just gonna be phenomenal. And I think it's gonna go well. So we'll see. So let's line it up.
I'm getting some interesting things on. So just off of the cold notes. Haven't even done a cold draw yet, but just off of the cold notes on this, I'm getting I'm getting a little bit of mint and a little bit of cilantro off of the nose.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. Here we go. No, Stone Cold Fruit. That is what I'm getting off the binder and the wrapper. I do have a feeling there is some Nicaraguan in here because it does have that spice to it. So that's just a guess. As I said earlier, it is undisclosed. So yes,
It's weird, and I'm really excited to see a couple of people come on. So my buddy Benjamin Jackson has come on. Uh, my colleague at work, she and I are coaches for a couple of different teams together. Aaron Lewis has come on, so thank you, Aaron, for coming on. Billionaire, yes, I'm going to retro it. And it's back to your previous question about whether or not I like the new stadium or not. I personally haven't been there yet, so I don't know. Um, I really liked the old stadium, and I love what that they're keeping it around and that they're using it for a couple of other sports, and that there's a really beautiful restaurant, bar, cigar lounge that's up at the top, and when you smoke your cigars, you're out on the patio that's overlooking the stadium. So if there's a game going on, you're able to watch that directly from up there, and it's a really cool experience. It's called Hearsay. And a good friend of ours, a good friend of the Twisted Pear and Leaf and Grain, Jera Hutchins is the general manager there, and she helped build it and help put it together. So shout out, Jera. Um,
I don't know if y'all can hear that because it is just, I don't know how loud. But
uh, we can hear the rain. We can hear something. There's a little bit of a background noise of it, but it's not too bad.
okay, good. So my apologies in advance, and I'm sitting here thinking, I think I left my earbuds in there. But hey, we're it's twisted tonight. About the new stadium, as I stated, my kids have gone there, and as someone I played baseball, love baseball. Uh, Back when I had time, I would go to almost every home game uh, that they
Yep.
had. So
I
diehard
used to
Pacer
have
fans,
used to have
yeah,
season tickets.
and that
Had
was
season tickets for a while. Yep.
yeah. So I mean, it was like I'm talking about like 5 years of not missing a game. Had
Oh,
major
wow.
surgery. Had major surgery. I'm talking about like I was not supposed to be up. I wasn't supposed to be walking. Was not supposed to be climbing stairs or anything. Touch Rodriguez. I used to be a catcher in college and sixth grade all the way up to college. When he retired, I took it personal and I cried. And when the Rangers went and retired his number, I had surgery where I had to be flat on my back for 24 hours. The next day, I went to that game and watched him retire his number. So, for someone as hot as it gets in Texas, I'm thankful for air conditioning. So
Oh,
and
absolutely.
they still have a lot of the aesthetics that the old park has. They still have some sections and to pay homage to that. But it seems like it's a billion feet from the ballpark. So on that, I'm going to say that I do miss going to the Jack Daniels Club, the Capital One Club, the all-you-can-eat buffets. I know that they have them, but it's more pricey. So it's a give and take a little situation. So that's my 2 cents on that.
My first Rangers game that I went to was to the stadium, the ballpark, before they opened up the first Globe Life. So, the ballpark at Arlington, and everybody made fun of that name, but for us here, that was the ballpark. That was
Hmm.
it. That was where our Rangers played. And a lot of us didn't like, me included, I did not like the fact that they tore it down and they built the old Globe Life, which is now retired, and now they've moved over to the new Globe Life. The old one is now called I think it's called the Choctaw or something Stadium. I'm glad that they kept it, but the nostalgia in me wishes that the ballpark at Arlington was still around because that one just had so much history to it for us.
And like I remember, like my first game was out with those wooden stadium, like those wooden bleachers back in before Globe Life. There was the other one,
Yeah.
you know. Uh, and I remember seeing Nolan Ryan pitch. Pud. I
Yep.
mean, like all of that. Then we got the new stadium. I was not happy about it. I remember like what the heck. But when they built it, it was just like I remember the tour before, and I cried because it was so beautiful. So yeah, that's my thing. But the cigar, I'm going to tell you, the cool thing about Shaggy Feet is, you can taste the binders and fillers a little bit more than you can because it gives you a chance to do that without the wrapper on it. So there's that.
But we're not here to talk about baseball. Let's kind of remind people a little bit of why we're doing the full pairings now. Last year we were doing just different pairings, all different kinds of drinks, and we kind of run almost the full gamut. I mean, there's a couple of styles of drinks that we haven't done yet, and we'll get around to them at some point in time. But this year we decided to change or to add to it and adding food to it. So Red, even though you kind of disappeared from us for a little bit, uh, what what has these what is the impact for you been on adding food to the pairings? And I wonder if we lost her completely. If you're trying to talk, you are on mute. Let's see if I can unmute her and nope, I can't unmute her. Okay, so I'll go ahead and answer the question first. Um, Adding food for me personally has brought out a completely different. It's added to the experience and it's opened my eyes on what different impacts that foods have. On like when we were doing chicken originally, chicken with wine and a cigar, and I've had chicken with wine and cigars before, but not in. I mean, I've had chicken and wines before, but I haven't had chicken and cigars before. I think Red is having some technical difficulties out there with the weather. But for us, when we combine the chicken, the white wine, and the red wine, whether or not we did an oven baked or a deep fried or a roasted chicken or like a rotisserie, the pairings didn't go well, and so I'm kind of nervous as to see how this pairing is going to go with the chicken fajitas and the vodka and the cigar. So far for me, this cigar, the Unfinished Business by Rojas, and that's what the challenge was. Uh, I'm I'm enjoying it. The initial notes off of the first draws was a lot of cocoa and a bit of earthy notes. And now that I've gotten a little bit into it, some of the pepper is starting to pick up in here on this. I have not taken it to the vodka yet, and I've not tried it with chicken fajitas yet because we've been talking. So that's how it's going for me tonight. Um, let's see. Chris is smoking the new Viaje Skull and Bones. And what are you pairing that with, Chris? And are you going with any food on that? Billionaire, what are you smoking? Hey Les, good to see you. What are you guys pairing? Let me know what you're pairing while we're waiting for Red to come back on. Hopefully the technical difficulties that she's experiencing there will figure itself out. I'm wondering if she lost power and she lost her Wi-Fi. So I'm going to go ahead and try the vodka. And I'm not a huge vodka fan straight, neat. I, prefer my vodka in my mixed drinks for sure. But let's see what we got here. Okay, so I mean, the vodka's not bad. It's nice. It's crisp. Um, Little bit sweetness in it. Yeah, Joe, I'm with you there. You know, vodka neat, but I mean, and I've had some good sipping vodkas. Neft, N-E-F-T, out of Houston is a really good sifting vodka, and I would drink that one neat all day long, every day. Well, not every day, but you know what I mean. But this is not bad so far. Um, let's see how it goes with the cigar. Well, that's interesting. I want to say that the cigar added a little bit of smokiness to it. And I know that's almost a cop out in saying that. I mean, because it's a cigar. Oh, here's Red back. Let me bring her back on here. Hi.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Did you have a power outage?
Yes, yeah, yes. So I apologize.
Yeah,
About
you
that.
know, you can't control the weather, and you did kind of tempt God there when you said come hell or high water, and he said, okay, well I'm going to give you some hail, and we're going to have some rain there. So, I mean, the wind is starting to pick up here. I'm 20 miles north, and I see some dark clouds moving around. So far, I'm okay. So
So
I've already tasted the vodka, and I've already gone cigar to vodka, and really the only thing that I'm picking up is and red is frozen. The only thing I'm really picking up right now is a bit of smoke with the vodka. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Make sure that I'm not the one that's gone. Let me see if I can post here. Okay, so I posted. Somebody. Okay, good. Thank you, Joe. I think. Well, Red's in the middle of the storm, so thank you. Matt. Yeah, thank you for tuning in there, brother. Matt, for those of you who don't know, Spice Man, he is our other partner. Most of you should know that. But if you don't, he is. We miss him, but he's kind of taken a little bit of a leave. He's got a new baby that's on the way, and so congratulations to Matt for that. All right, so let's go vodka to cigar here. Okay, and just as I expected, the vodka's not really impacting the cigar because there's, if a vodka's done right, there's not going to be any flavors to it. You're not going to get any notes, really. I mean, I get a little bit of sweetness in the vodka, but nothing distinguishable. And there's no impact from the vodka to the cigar. And it's enjoyable. I mean, this is enjoyable, but when we're talking about pairings, things that we look for in the pairings is that we want to see how one can bring out a note in the other. So it's interesting. Let me go to. Let's bring up the fajita. And I am hungry. Congratulations on your niece, Gabe. And 90th is good. Water is always a good pairing. Okay, now that is nice. It really the chicken fajitas really bring out the pepper notes of the cigar. Really starts bringing out the a little bit well high red, um, a um, little bit of tanginess. Let me get that back to you, Red. Guys, give me just a second here as I send Red another invite. We definitely apologize for the technical difficulties. Through this. You know, you know a good show, I guess, is if you can always get through the technical difficulties without major hiccups. So I personally think that we're moving right along with this. Hey, she's here. You're back.
I'm back.
Let me put some glue in there.
I just started laughing because I've lost power like a couple of times. So yeah, it's been fun. So um, cigar is great. I've been puffing as that's one good thing about doing this. I apologize for everybody. I'm trying to play catch up with it. Graybeard is like already chowing down. He's ahead of me. That's great. I am having cigar, and I'm gonna have some vodka now because obviously it's time for me to drink.
Get your drink on now. What's up? What's up, my brother? So I'm gray beers or no? He came back and said beard.
Hello. So
This is big country, and I got to give a shout out to him. That my brother, big country, he sent me some cigars, or tried to, and they ended up getting lost in the mail and fortunately they went back to him. And then he sent me some more. And I'll be honest, brother, I honestly forgot about him. Just through life and everything. And so they've been sitting in my humidor for a couple of months now. And I pulled one out yesterday and smoked it. Red.
mhm.
Oh my lord. This is a cigar, boutique cigar. Uh, Country, you're out in Alabama, either Alabama or Georgia, I think, right? But I mean, this cigar was good. One that I'm going to have to revisit. Oh, Tennessee. Okay, that's right. That's right, because you're in Tennessee. Because when we were on this show with Rockstar, you were there too, I believe. Uh, and I know he was out in Tennessee when we went on his show. But anyways, this is a cigar. Yes, I smoked a Maduro, and this is a cigar that we need to visit. We need to do on the show. Big K, we need to bring you on the show and talk about this and do a pairing with your cigar and do a review because you're a stand-up brother, and two, you got a damn good product that needs to be known. Chris, if you're still on here watching us, buddy, you got to get a cigar from AJ here, Big Country. He has got some good stuff here. All right, so that's enough of that plug for you guys.
Okay.
Giving my sister Red a little bit of chance to catch up here with some food because we got to talk about this pairing because I think we hit it with the chicken.
Okay. And so well, and I was gonna say I had just tasted the cigar and the vodka, and that's what I was gonna talk about. Uh, the thing is with vodka is it's one of those things that it's difficult to pair, and It's kind of like, when you have tequila, a lot of times, for example, my daughter had her 21st birthday. So we went out to the bar, someone sent over some shots, and of course they wanted us to shoot tequila. My daughter hates it because I don't shoot. I sip. It's not that I can't shoot. It's just I respect alcohol too much to shoot it. And that's what I was explaining to her. And especially like, vodka, tequila, they're made to sip. And a lot of people don't realize that. Um, Vodka doesn't have it's kind of almost like it's got a little bit of a flavor, but not much to it. It's almost kind of like water, and,
Yep.
you know, and,
I got a funny story to tell you in just a minute.
and the thing is there's very few vodkas, and we talked about this right here, that you can actually like taste, like give the actual taste to it. And I'm sorry, Tito's isn't one of them. Even though it's the pot still, and and here's the thing: is it's made where we live. So from cigar to it's kind of almost drinking a little bit like water with just a little thing to it. So yeah,
That, that Yeah, that's exactly why I was saying that, going from cigar to vodka and going from vodka to cigar, I'm not seeing really of an impact. I mean, I am picking up a little bit of smoke off the vodka going from cigar to vodka, but that would be expected because I'm smoking a cigar.
yeah,
I do get a little bit of sweetness on the vodka itself, but it's really a nondescript sweetness. It's not something that
yeah.
stands out of, oh, there's that flavor.
Yeah, and the thing is like oh my goodness, I just drew a blank. What is the vodka I'm thinking of?
Neft, N-E-F-T,
Yes,
Neft.
thank you, because it's one that I keep at my house that I just sip on. It is a true sipping vodka, and it has sweetness to it. It has that natural sweetness. And
Hmm.
so there's that. So I know that you said that your fajitas are naked. So on my fajitas, I have chicken, bell peppers, a little bit of guacamole for that spice. I'm allergic to tomatoes, so I don't have pickle. I have a tiny bit of sour cream just because it's the milk product and the cheese. I didn't want too much because that will
Hmm.
drastically change the flavors of the cigar. So when you are pairing things, kind of keep that in mind. So I'm gonna go enjoy my cigar, and then I'm gonna come over and try my fajita. It's more like a chicken taco. It's not really a fajita.
So while you're doing that, think about you missed my question. And my question is for you, how is adding food to our pairings that we're doing, so this is our theme for this year. How is adding food to your pairings impacted how you approach pairings, and what is your thoughts have been on it so far?
I think I kind of somewhat answered it a little bit on my previous statement. It makes you think about what you're going to put on your food, really.
It really does.
I love it if I could have like every cigar, a meal, and dessert and breakfast. Like weekends, I love the weekends because I get to have breakfast, cigar, and my coffee. You know,
Hmm.
and that's what I love about the weekends. Um, so when you're putting like a big meal with it, and especially when you can go to restaurants, kind of like hearsay, where you can enjoy it, or when you're at the lounge and they allow you to bring in food. A lot of times we don't think about the food impacting what we're eating. We think about it automatically with the drink, but we don't think about it whenever we're smoking a cigar. And there's that huge thing. And that's kind of like why I left off some of the dairy of it. But it also kind of made me think about like which tortillas. I mean, it goes to about like which tortillas that I'm also going to put. What am I going to put an onion on it? Probably not right now because I want to get the kind of like the raw flavors of
Yeah.
it. So I didn't put an onion on it. I didn't put much sour cream. I didn't put my beans on it. I did put my rice and my chicken and my bell peppers just so I could have that. So whenever you're adding your food to it, it does impact it, including the drink. So that's
And we've seen,
I love doing it.
I'm loving it too, and we've seen that through a couple of different shows. How pairings of just the cigar and the drink, we know that that would go good, but when we added the food, it had such an impact that we were, a couple of them we were like, wow, this is blowing me away, and a couple of others we were like, yeah, no, this is not working. So my funny story about vodka, real quick. So on one of the whiskey drinking groups that I'm on, and we had someone, and I don't know who she was. She must have been really new because she goes, what is a non-alcoholic vodka that I can get? And a bunch of people said that it doesn't exist. You can't find it. And I came back with, yeah, you can. And everybody has it. It comes out of your tap. And she goes, no, that's just water. I want non-alcoholic vodka. And I said, true vodka has no taste. So therefore, it's like water with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it's,
I was on that chat too, and I was
yeah, you were.
I mean,
It
and
was
I'm
fun.
not saying that I was rolling at what she was asking. I'm not. Let me make that clear. I was laughing at his response and what other people were responding to him. So, I'm gonna say, like, even though I can, I think the ghost took my, we call our ghost Bob. I think he took my cigars. He might have been having a bad week, but all I'm gonna say is, like, this is freaking good. This is really, really good. Yeah, soak a potato in water. Yeah, we've kind of, yeah, that's what we've said. Is, and a lot of people don't realize it. Like, everyone always puts it to Russia. Like, oh, Russia is really big with vodka. Also Ireland.
Ireland's really
They
big
have their
with
own.
vodka.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to leave my I don't want to leave my people out there.
But the thing with vodka is that it does not have to be from potatoes. A lot of American vodka is done in corn.
Corn.
We were talking about Neft. Neft is a pot stilled vodka that is made from rye.
Mm-hmm.
And I I think because of the number of times that they column still it after they pot still, so
Mm-hmm.
they're always gonna column still it afterwards
Mm-hmm.
because that's going to help bring that the ABV up higher, which you want to bring it up
Mm-hmm.
higher, and then you'll bring it back down into typically an 80, 80 proof, 90 proof, 100 proof, but sometimes you'll find a little bit higher proof ones. But I think that they're doing just enough column stills to give it just enough of that purity to classify it as a vodka while not taking away some of the notes. Because if you remember when we had that at that one event, you and I were both, shocked that we were picking up notes right off the bat on it, and we
Mm-hmm.
were both said we could pair this with a cigar
Right.
because we were getting a little bit of, just subtle hints of stone fruit sweetness to it.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind because I had never had that, and that's when we called it a sipping vodka, and come to find out that there is a classification of vodkas that are sipping vodkas.
So here's the interesting thing. When I go from vodka to chicken to cigar, I get spice. Like, I get a bite. It's like almost like a chili pepper.
Hmm.
Um, that, like, I just bit into, and and it's not like for some people are like, oh, I don't like, spicy and like a chile pepper or whatever. Um, it's not to where it's like overwhelming. And so I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. Uh,
Yeah, we hear you.
okay, good. Because like like I'm still unstable here. So so it is but even going from like cigar, fajita to tequila, it's like a sweet note. It's like a
Yeah.
sweeter
So
note.
same with me. I just went from the fajita to the vodka, and I was curious as the vodka was kind of going to kind of like cleanse my palate. Because it's like we said, it's a water.
Mhm.
It didn't, and as soon as I went to the cigar, it was almost a I mean, my mouth was on fire. I mean, it was like habanero kind of
Yeah.
pepper, coming out. And keep in mind, my fajitas, I had to dress them up a little bit, and I dressed them up with just with a mild salsa. So there is nothing else on there. I don't have any peppers other than what's in the salsa. No pico because I don't have any pico. I just had some salsa uh, that we got from another restaurant and added to that. Um, and what Gabe brings out is this is true. Vodka is a flavor enhancer, and that's why we use vodkas in a lot of different types of mixed
Of our
drinks.
food. And our food. We cook
Oh
with it
yeah,
too.
we cook with it.
It's a staple.
Um, I I think a lot of it is our individual pilots there, Joe. I do mention stone fruit often, but stone fruit is a really broad
Mhm.
categorization because stone fruit can be raspberries, peaches, apricots, strawberries. Uh, strawberries is considered a little bit of a stone fruit in some senses. Some people I classify it more as a red fruit. uh, Blackberries, any cherries can be
Plum.
considered a stone
Plum.
fruit. Plums, yes. So any fruit that has a seed that's a part of the fruit itself, and it's a single component of it.
Right.
So each of those little berries on of the cluster of a blackberry or a raspberry has a seed in it.
And
So
it's
so yeah,
and it's
like
strawberry.
orchard, yeah, and strawberries too. So that's a stone fruit. You have a lot of crossovers. So your blackberries and black cherries are also considered black fruits. Your raspberries is also considered a red fruit. Your strawberries are sometimes classified as a tropical fruit as well. So it kind of hits that tropical fruit, a little bit of that red fruit as well, and some people classify it as a stone fruit as well. So there's a lot of crossovers in them.
It I was gonna say the main thing that I think about like when stone fruits when you say it to me it's like plums, apricots, like the dates, you
Me,
know,
me as well. Yeah.
and like and cherries. That and when you look at like pairing wheels and like when you look up the definition of like what most people have across that are doing tastings, it's like the fruits that we just mentioned. It's like and I also think as for me, strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries, those are also to me very stone fruits. You know, and I think it depends on what area that you've grown up with. Also, I think that has a part to play with it because, like in the South, and when I say South, I'm talking about like Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, and when I cook, I tend to cook like my mother, who is from the South, like Alabama. So those to us, we've been those have been labeled as stone fruits, like in the I don't want to say true South, but Texas is South, but I don't think it's true South. If that makes any sense. For the Bible Belt. So
We
I
are
think that has a lot to play with it too, because Joe's up from Chicago,
Chicago. Chicago.
Chicago,
For me, stone fruit. I'm with you. Plums, dates,
and you're from
apricots,
like your
peaches.
family's from Arkansas, so
Yes. And if you think about the general flavor that you get out of those and those types of textures, there's really in your fruits you have your really citrusy, you have your kind of your soft fruit notes, which I typically lean towards tropical. Tropicals, bananas is a tropical fruit. It's kind of a little bit of softer notes.
coconut.
Pineapple is a little bit of a softer type note with the citrus, but the notes on it aren't as strong as say the citrus in an orange or lemon or a lime.
Right. I'm just like now that I'm like I've worked my way through and like you've smoked the cigar
Oh
before.
yes, yeah, we had it together there at Lake
Yeah.
Worth.
And the thing is we know as you smoke it, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And I've noticed that like when I have my vodka, even to the cigar, and it's picked up and like it is a in your face right now, the
Hmm.
cigar. I feel like I have uh like I'm eating jalapenos, like raw,
The
which
same one.
which is weird. And I even like before it's almost like when I'm like it I don't want to say inhaling, but when I'm taking a draw in, I almost get that like that
Uh
minty
oh.
like scope. Did you lose me?
Okay.
Okay. So
Wait,
it,
wait
but
for a
it's
second,
like
but you're back.
mojito. It's like a mojito. Like the mojito mint. When you're having a mojito with
Yeah,
lime and all
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And the thing is like I didn't put lime. Like because like here's the thing is we could have dressed the vodka up. We could have put lime in it. We could have put orange, juice. We could have put squirted some lime. I could have squirted limes on my fajitas, but I withdrew from doing that for this very reason. And I think it's rather interesting. I'm gonna. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try what I just did again. And I've got a little bit of fajita left. I was hungry.
Well, I want to try some of
But
my beans. I even have beans. I don't know if you did beans.
no, I no, I didn't. Fajita to cigar to vodka, and when I hit the vodka, I got a note off of the vodka. So
What'd
I'm
you
not
get?
gonna. I'm gonna try it again. I gotta confirm.
That's like a tease. That's like not
Well,
very nice.
who said I was nice?
Well, I was hoping you'd be nice to me today. It's kind of been a rough day. It's been a rough week.
I'm being nice by confirming it for you instead of just
Okay,
giving it
that's
to you
true.
unconfirmed.
Okay, I'll respect that. But I mean, remember how we had beans one time and we like were loving the beans
Oh yes.
and we were tripping out and we just like did bean, cigar, and like drink. So I kind of want to do that if you're okay with that.
Go for it. We
Okay.
did that when we were doing our Mexican
Mhm.
Mexican meal.
Okay, what'd you get? Can you confirm
Hold
it?
hold hold on. Hold on.
um, so my favorite beans are like, and I'm having a mind blank right now. Okay, so here's my beautiful beans. You can see it. It's almost like a soup. A lot of people don't like this. This is how I like my beans. Is like they almost make it like a soup. I like it better than refried beans because it's like the true way to eat your Mexican style beans. Um, and I'm excited. So I'm gonna do that while you confirm.
Fresh peaches directly from the orchard. Not store bought. I mean where you've got that texture of the skin, the texture of the skin, and you've got that burst of sweetness. Fajita to cigar to the vodka, I'm getting I'm getting a powerhouse of peach notes right off of the vodka going that direction. No other way. No other way, but that way going to the vodka brought me peaches off of the vodka twice.
Okay. I'm just gonna say this, and you know I'm a vodka person. I like vodka.
And you know I'm not.
Yeah. So I'm just really shocked that the vodka with all of this, even with like vodka bean cigar, it made my it made my like very, very spicy. But the crazy thing was the cigar calmed down the spiciness with the vodka and the beans.
So when I go from fajita to vodka to cigar, the cigar con- the cigar, I mean, I was getting jalapeno notes right off the bat. So not the same for me. Going from fajita to cigar to vodka, an explosion of peach. Take out the take out the fajitas and just go from the cigar to the vodka, and it's back to all I'm getting is a smoky vodka.
So here I'm gonna, and you have like white, you had white corn,
I
right?
I have white, and now
Do you, so do
think
you
about this for
prefer
a moment.
white corn, or was it just that came with it?
This is what came with it. Now, and actually, actually no, I think these are white flour tortillas. So now, think about this. When you're eating a just a standard white bread, what we
Hmm.
often equate to bready type notes is oftentimes vanilla,
Right,
that type of sweetness, right?
right.
So I'm wondering if what's going on here is because of the flour tortillas with the meat, then to the cigar, then to the vodka, that all of that is building up those peach notes, those vanilla notes, and so that's carrying into the vodka, and that's why I'm getting an explosion of it.
And and for me, because I just have the chicken, and like I said earlier, I'm like a big fan of the corn tortillas. I really don't eat the flour tortillas anytime I have Mexican food. Um, I think my son-in-law would probably beat me down if I did that. Um, even though like, and here's the thing, is my daughter makes homemade tortillas. She's learned
Mm.
from her mother-in-law. So, the thing that I did different is I added beans to it. And in the beans, I have my jalapenos. I have some like red chili and all that stuff. I did not do the sour cream or the cheese this time. And I did do bell peppers. I will say that. So I'm gonna try the. I always, for me, I don't know. I always go food first. I don't know why. Whenever I do pairings, I like to have my food first because like I can. It sounds bad because I can hold it in my mouth while I do the other two. It's like a chipmunk. And so yeah.
So here's something interesting. I only had one piece of chicken fajita meat left, so I just took that, then went to the cigar, and then went to the vodka, and the vodka enhanced the spice. But other than that, that sweetness, it was still just a smoky. There was no sweetness from the vodka that I get just by itself. It was it was like a smoky spice. So I'm thinking it is the flour tortilla that is carrying through, enhancing the stone fruit notes of the cigar and carrying through to the vodka, and that's amplifying it so that that's where I'm getting the that fresh peach note.
And the corn, if you think about corn has its own sweetness to it, right?
Yeah,
Even
and
though
a
it's natural.
completely different style.
It's a different sweetness. And so, like, I'm getting more, I'm going to call it a raw sweetness to it.
Hmm.
Um, when I go for like my tortilla, like my fajita, to my cigar, and then even to the vodka. So I'm going to try vodka fajita, and I'm going to do the chipmunk. And I'm sorry, y'all, if it, like, I gross y'all out. I'm trying not to show any food. But we know when we full cheek something like a chickmunk, you get that flavor in your nasal right there. So that's like another thing. It's like, it's like whenever you you can't really, you can kind of almost retrohale your food, but you really can't. And when you retrohale your food, if you right there, you'll get
Yep.
it. But like from the other one, I totally got the smokiness of it. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Rojas on this because my cigar, through all of the trauma tonight, I'm gonna call it trauma. I haven't had to relight this baby at all. I mean, you talk about how it, and I've left it over here for a few minutes to talk to y'all, but it still has kept on going. So I'm gonna give kudos to that. Now I'm gonna do vodka, Fajita, cigar. Let's see.
Can I get a drum roll here from somebody? Let's see the chipmunks.
Mm. I'm just gonna say that when you go from vodka first to the food and the cigar, for me, it burns.
Hmm.
And I'm glad that the cigar comes in like a clinch, or clutch, what is the word? And brings that sweetness to it.
I got to give a shout out to Albert from Rojas Cigars
Yeah.
on this pairing. He hit it. He's the one who challenged us. And Albert, I'm sorry it took us so long. If somebody can tag Albert
Oh
to
yeah.
get him over here to tune in, because wow, yeah, this is something else. This is a good pairing, and I think we found what we need for that chicken type pairing
Yeah.
because our other chicken attempts bombed,
They have
failed,
failed
failed
miserably.
hard.
And so here's my thing. I think I'm just gonna try chicken and vodka. I haven't had it. I'm gonna say it naked, um, because I just want to kind of do it that way. So I'm gonna do drink, chicken, cigar. Then after that, I'm gonna do cigar, chicken, drink. Then I'm gonna do chicken, cigar, and drink. So we're gonna see.
Well, I did confirm that it's a flour tortilla that is bringing because I went just flour tortilla, cigar, drink, and those peach notes were still there. So I'm going to go.
Mm, mm. I'm not liking the vodka first. Not at all. Um,
I can tell, and I'm out of fajita. I've just got a tiny bit of tortilla left.
it is, and I'm gonna say, okay, so like Tex-Mex, Tex-Mex, I'm gonna say on this one, and I'm gonna double check with my son-in-law because, like, my son-in-law is from his family's Mexican, and they're very So like when I say we get authentic Mexican food from like my son-in-law's mother, and that's how my daughter's taught to make. I should have had her make this, but she's like caring for a newborn baby, right?
Mm.
Um, they put some. They have standard seasoning, but they don't over season it. I think Tex-Mex is where we over season things.
Mm.
Um, there's not like a bunch of seasoning on this to where like if I were just to eat the chicken by itself, I'm like I can taste the chicken. I can taste that oiliness or grease or whatever you want to call it with the chicken. And I taste, a little bit of the spices. But it's like when you have the vodka first, it like sets it on fire.
It does. Vodka really is a flavor enhancer, and I know exactly what you mean. What you're talking about with real Mexican versus Tex-Mex. When I first moved to Texas from Arkansas to go to art school, my roommate was from Mexico. And so his mom would come and, because, his mom's going to come and visit how his baby girl is, his baby boy is doing in school and stuff. And they both would make some authentic Mexican food. And my aunt, my uncle's wife, my aunt, she was from Mexico. And she was she was the one that spoke just enough English to where she could get by and we could understand what she was trying to say. And when she got mad at you, she spoke faster and all in Mexican, and you couldn't understand her. And she would make her own tortillas from scratch. She would make her tamales from scratch.
Yes.
Would not make tacos because she said tacos is not Mexican, which it's not.
It's not.
It's Tex-Mex, but it's not overspiced, like you said. It's not overspicy. It's not overseasoned. There's just the right amount of seasonings to give you a little bit of spice, but it's not piled down with jalapenos and peppers and onions and cilantro and everything else.
Part, of it. They do cilantro. They're big about cilantro.
But they balance it perfectly, not overpowered.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying the cigar and the chicken together. It's just like really, really good. And like, because that's one thing is, well, and another thing is like, if you think about like how, when you do, chicken, like on like fajita, you cut it in strips. We've had whole chicken.
Yes.
We have not had like pieces of chicken with it. So I'm wondering if that might be a little bit of a difference. And it's like on a black skillet, like a griddle.
Right.
Is how they prepare it. It's not deep fried. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, if you were to make chicken strips with a cigar, I'm wondering how that would go.
I'm wondering how that would go too. I'm thinking that's the difference of it, because think about it, we were doing whole chicken breasts or we did rotisserie chicken, and it allows all of those fats to really cook in. And when you think about when you're cooking something on a skillet, you're cooking it fast. You're cooking because it's a high heat skillet. You're pretty much searing it. It's getting cooked through,
right,
but it's getting cooked at a much faster rate, and so it's not allowing all of those juices from the fats to really soak into the meat on it. And I think that's the difference in this, because this has been a hit out of the ballpark, to stay on with our baseball theme from the start of it.
But this is insane about like how the vodka just has such a bite. It feels like I have poured like a jalapeno in it, or like
yeah, it was
from chicken to vodka, because I'm chickmonking it, so to speak. It is like I can taste that black pepper.
the vodka really is a flavor enhancer, and I think if we were doing this blindfolded,
We wouldn't know.
we wouldn't
We're
know that
drinking.
we were drinking vodka except for unless we drank the when we drank the vodka first and then
So,
went to something. But if the vodka became part of it with after the food, we never know
it's
because it just really enhances all of those flavors. And I get you. It's almost like it's we're doing a jalapeno infused.
yeah, and I want to say it's not like a simple syrup jalapeno infused because when you have simple syrup, you have that sugar and it kind of makes it sweet. You make
Yeah.
it gives that it brings out sweetness to the jalapeno if that makes sense. It's almost like a like when tequila, if you have really good sipping tequila, it is very sweet, and that's you know that's how it's supposed to be. But like
Oh,
what?
can you see Joe's challenge here?
Challenge. Pete and Scott. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this out here because Texas hot dogs are different from your Portillo's hot dogs. So Chicago style hot dogs completely different. So you have New York, Chicago, and let's say Texas hot dogs. Completely different hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So are you talking about Chicago style? Because we do have a Portillo's here. Just
We
FYI.
do.
Yeah.
We do. And Texas
I
hot
think
dogs,
there's two Portillo's here, actually.
true Texas hot dogs are going to be more of your all beef type Texas hot dog. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's like a
hot dogs.
beef and then chili, uh, which is like, chili, cheese, onions. Uh, that is like your real true. And it's crazy because if you go to like the ballpark, they have this one called the Boomerang, and it's like a foot long hot dog. It's
Oh,
insane. And it
I
comes
got
with
challenged. I got
chili.
challenged to eat one of those.
Yeah,
I got
I have.
challenged to eat one of those, and I won $50 on that one,
You ate the whole thing by yourself?
and went away with $50.
Dang. I can't even
Uh,
eat like 1/4. I can't even eat like a whole. So
here it is. He says, let's do both, Chicago versus Texas. Okay, so this is going to have to be the week after next because we got a special guest next week. We're going to have a guest, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So let's see if we can get this shared out. See if we can get some more people on here with us to talk about our guest next week.
the beans with the fajitas with the corn brings out a sweetness in the cigar. It's like a natural. It's like a floral sweetness.
It that's interesting. But is it okay? Is it more like a earthy floral, or is it more like a fruity type floral?
Surprisingly, it's a fruity floral.
Really?
Yeah.
So
Which I,
so more
I
so
was
so more like a lavender type floral as opposed to a rose type floral?
okay. It's more of a rose. Did I
Would
say
you?
fruity? What did
Yeah,
I say?
you said fruity, and I
I
would
thought I said
classify
floral.
rose.
I
You
meant
you said
floral.
yeah, but so for me, lavender has more of those earthy type aromatics to it, whereas a rose has a little bit more of a sweetness type aromatic to it.
I'm gonna try it again because we know I have corn, right?
Forever the lady, covering your mouth when you're shoving food into it, being the lady. Folks, she is processing the thoughts for the dead airspace. As we're all watching her as she's processing
I know.
she's processing the notes. She's started. I could just picture her. She's got the notes wheel
I do.
in her mind, and she's starting at that center for the core notes, and she's
Mhm.
following it down the path into where it is. I can see where her
You can
brain
see
is
it.
processing right now.
Yeah, and I'm
Am
glad
I
you said
wrong?
that.
Am I
No,
am I
you're
wrong?
absolutely right. Because the thing is like I'm gonna say more of I wouldn't necessarily say like a lavender, but I get that earthiness to it
Okay.
because I mean if you think about it, let's think about it. Like our beans, it's like dirt. I hate to describe it that way. Corn, it's got that like the I'm gonna say like a earthiness. But have you ever smelled like leather that's like a sweet leather, not like a
Oh,
rough
absolutely.
leather? And,
Yeah.
and I want to say it's more of like when it's usually like a red leather. I know that sounds like really crazy, but just stick with me, folks. So it's kind of like, whenever you've had that, it's not brand new leather where it's just like in your face, but it's aged a little bit and it's got that sweetness to it. That is what it is.
If you want to, I know exactly what you're talking about here, and if you want to, we're not crazy here. We're not coming up
No.
with something wild out of our ass here. If you want to experience that same kind, go and grab yourself a can of dark red beans and pop it open, and then take a whiff of it in, and just
Yeah.
let that sit on your nasal passages for a while, and you'll know what we're talking about. That's that red leather. Whereas when you're talking about, there's a different type of leather type notes that I was kind of getting off of the nose, which is almost kind of like a minty cilantro, and that's like a little bit more of your white, light brown type leather type notes that you'll get off
Right.
of it.
But
So
I'm gonna show this because like if you look
oh, those are my favorite kind of beans.
like let me tell you, I could like usually with this sounds so bad, but this is kind of like they have a soup like a there's a Mexican soup that they have with the beans and meats and all this other stuff. And I will say that this actually has pollo in it, chicken, you know, and like the jalapeno. There's no cilantro. There's no onions. It's very earthy.
Hmm.
And we know when we have beans like this, it's like salt, you know. And we were talking about earlier, like, do you think about what you pair with, And refried fried beans have more of a saltiness to it than opposed to those beans. And they did it like I don't want to say it like a tomato base, but that's kind of like how it is. And you really like when you're pairing a cigar and you want the ultimate experience, you have to get down to the nitty gritty of everything that you're pairing because the slightest thing can change it. You know, I'm allergic to tomatoes. Like I cannot eat fresh raw tomatoes, so I don't have like any pico on my fajitas. I don't have any of that. And usually, like when you have something like the tomatoes, it brings like a sweetness almost, like a
Hmm.
sweet salt. It's been a while since I've had a tomato, so it's been numerous of years. But like I think that like I think like a tomato like on this would bring out more of a sweetness. But this brings out like a saltiness. So I'm wondering if like I just had like regular beans that weren't like steamed or anything, just regular pinto
Yeah.
beans, how that would like with tomatoes and like the pico. I'm curious of how that would have been.
That's interesting.
But
Hi.
like
Oh. I wish you could do tomatoes because I am thinking of different types of like charcuteries that we could. I mean, tomatoes and cheeses. Where like we had a like a cherry tomato with the mozzarella cheese.
Yeah.
And combining because there's
Well, if
all
you're
kinds of
always
dishes.
welcome to eat tomatoes, I'm gonna steer clear about it.
Yes, that what we could do because we haven't done a charcuterie is we can do a couple of two different style of charcuterie boards in a pairing with possibly like with a wine.
Mhm.
Maybe with like a sangria because sangria goes beautifully with charcuterie.
It does, and it's getting that hot summer, and it's
It
got that
is,
sugar, the stone fruit.
and it's also on it's also chilled.
Hmm.
Because it's usually sangria is usually going to be on ice as well. Take that and you do a pairing with a charcuterie that that you can't eat because we definitely don't want you to get sick on anything that we're doing.
Oh,
And then I'll do one with more of a cheese and tomato type uh different types of tomatoes along with cheeses style charcuterie. That with the sangria.
and
What do you guys think? All two of you that are still out there with us,
no,
let us know what you think.
and like
I,
I'm shocked that you have not had hell come down.
I, you know, I.
I'm kind of
It's
almost
funny.
scared
Right
to see what
above
my
me,
bucket looks like.
you know, kind of out that way a little bit. I see clear skies and I see black clouds kind of circling around me.
And like it has stopped raining, but the crazy thing was I've had hell and it was coming down. Like it was coming down. So, and in fact, I actually closed down the garages before, like when we lost the power. That was one of the things is like I immediately closed the garage um, area because that's where my lounge is. That's where I have
Hmm.
it. Um, and so my daughter's probably going to fuss at me. She's probably going to say, "Little M, mini me." And here's the thing: is this is what I love about it is because I can't say his name. Um, because people have asked me like, "What's his name?" Um, Misael. So I mean, you cannot get more Hispanic than that. I'm not going to give out his
Nope.
last name, but he's Misael the third, and it's so funny because my dad turns 90 this July. You talk about an exciting time. We're having this big old party and everything for my dad, and he can't say the poor baby's name. I just
Oh.
I just laugh about it. So
Now that this is interesting, and Ben, I'm glad that we were able to bring something different to you. He
oh,
says, "I never would have thought to pair vodka with chicken fajitas, so I thought it was interesting, and normally pair a tequila or margarita with chicken fajitas." And you're
well,
right. I mean, because when you come to think of it, tequila is typically your Mexican drink, all of your great tequilas, in order for it to be considered 100% agave tequila,
hmm,
it's got to come from Mexico. And there's only 5 regions in Mexico that it can come from,
yep.
and it's going to be certified with a number on there. And if you have a tequila that's not certified with that number, then you know
It's
for
not
sure
real
that
tequila.
it doesn't come from Mexico. But
It's
it makes
fake.
sense that's why we usually pair those with any kind of Mexican food with fajitas, as opposed to vodka,
But
which
here's
is
my
typically from a different region.
here's my thing because this is Tito's, which Tito in Spanish is uncle, just in case you didn't know. Tita. Yeah, Tito's. So I'm wondering like how this would have been because he was specific
He
of
was
it,
very specific.
very specific, saying it had to be Tito's. So I'm curious if like if I paired this with Neft. I should have like done it with like a different vodka to kind of see because and here's the thing is usually whenever you look at vodka, it is clear see through and like you can't really see mine, but mine has a yellowish tint. yours had a yellowish tint when you held it up.
Mine's got a little
Clear.
bit of a.
Does it have some yellow though?
No, this is perfectly clear.
Okay. So, I mean, because of the lighting, that's why, like, I was curious. Because, like, when I looked at this, even in the refrigerator, I'm like, it doesn't look very. But, like, when I hold it like this, do y'all see the difference? Here,
Yeah,
let me get this out of the way. So, you see the neck, it's clear. So, I guess it's the reflection of because see, look, I have, like, the beautiful copper right here.
yeah.
Um,
It could be the reflection of the inside of the paper. Now, what
yeah.
would be interesting is to do this again sometime, or maybe do this on our own, and post back or write an article about it. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Um, and maybe do a comparison of two Texas vodkas, like a Dripping Springs vodka and a Tito's
Ooh,
vodka, and
I love
compare
me
and
some dripping springs.
see. I do enjoy Dripping Springs, and I've got some in there, but my people. My plate is empty.
Yeah,
My
I
my
can't.
plate is empty. I and we've done other food pairings to where it's like, okay, I'm done. This is okay. It didn't blow me out. I've got to move on with this. This one has been absolutely out of the park good.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say, here's my only caveat: if you are going to have the tequila first, if you like
Vodka first.
spiciness, tequila. See, I like tequila. See, we got me on tequila. If you're gonna have the vodka
That's what the show is.
yeah, I'm just like, oh, I'm like kidding myself. If you're gonna have the vodka first, be ready for some spiciness. Um, it because we both said when you have vodka first with the other stuff, it gives like that habanero pepper.
All right, I'm making this one public because he's saying he's going to get me some real chicken fajitas. All right, you're getting called out. I'm going to hold you to that,
Okay,
brother.
so like I need to know who Benjamin Jackson is.
Benjamin Jackson is a buddy of mine that I worked with him um, back from about, I want to say about 2013 through 2018 at we both work for the same company. He's an IT consultant,
Oh, okay.
and we've recently reconnected
Okay.
after like 5 years. And he found out about the show, and is he's
Awesome. Well,
he's been a consistent guest
yeah,
for about the past month or so. So
yes. Because I've
love
seen
it.
him and I'm like, who is Benjamin? I don't know you.
And the
You
brother
don't.
does not smoke cigars. Although I'm working at it. I'm working on him, but he doesn't smoke cigars
You're missing
yet.
out. You're missing out.
Yet. Yet.
So, I'm
His wife may disown him if he starts.
uh, well, we just need to work on her and get her into it. So when she
Right?
realizes how relaxing it is, um, I'm gonna say that I really enjoyed this.
Okay, I got to make this one public too. So all right, it's now known. It is recorded in history in a video live on YouTube, folks. You
We
heard it right
did
here on
Facebook
the
Live
Twisted
show.
Pair. For posterity's sakes, he said he's going to try them. So all right.
So I'm gonna say my favorite was fajita first,
Mhm.
cigar,
Mhm.
vodka.
I have to agree. But fajita first, cigar, and vodka, and this may blow your mind here, Red. You may think, what the hell is Graybeard talking about here?
I'm gonna be like, what else are you smoking, Graybeard? I'm just kidding.
Right.
I'm just kidding. People don't get
I
120 on us.
I want to try this pairing with a Dominican Republic Sumatra.
And here's my thing. I would really enjoy it with a Dominican and a Honduras.
Mm. But yeah, we'll get that nice creaminess, sweetness from the Honduras, while
Yeah.
still maintaining that earthiness that we get. And see, that's why we went specific with a Sumatra, and not like a Criollo or Corojo, um,
But
but
this
going
has
with a
Sumatra in it, so I feel like I cheated.
I. And I don't know what's in this blend, but damn, this blend is a good cigar.
I want to say
I'm
it's got some San Andreas in it,
which that would make sense on why I was getting cocoa off of the first
and
notes.
vanilla. Because the cocoa and the vanilla kind of go hand in hand
Yep.
with San Andreas, so that's probably. And then you had your flour tortilla. So, and it kind of brings me to another point: is I'm not a big margarita drinker. I'm not big into it because I'm allergic to citrus fruit. I can't have too much citrus fruit. So, what's the main ingredient in a margarita? Lime.
Line.
So, yeah.
Unless you could do like a strawberry Rita.
Yeah. But whenever I will say this, whenever I've had there's certain a flight of margaritas that I have. So the area that I live in, we have like I think in Texas there's a lot of cities that have little Mexicos in them. Where you go and like where you get the taquerias and all this stuff, it is like true Mexican flavor, right? And it's so funny because it depends on what region and area that you're with. But I can go and get like they kind of make it Americanized, so you can get your like different like your pink cactus margarita. That is really good. Then you get your like prickly pear. Then you get your blue margarita. So I can enjoy
Mhm.
those because it's got less lime in it, but like a regular margarita is just too much for my allergies, right? But I think like a flight of margaritas besides the lime, like shoot, I'm sitting here thinking of like this place that's just not far from my house. And Sundays they have a flight of margaritas and it's more of the sweetness to it. I'm wondering what this would be like with the cigar. Like instead of like, I mean, I don't know if you could call it a margarita if you mixed it with vodka. Could you
Uh,
call it? Nah, you couldn't. And here's the thing:
it
is margaritas are Tex-Mex. They're not Mexicans because it was came from Texas. So I just want to state that right there too.
I'm wondering if you did it with vodka instead that would take it more along the lines of like a Malibu or
Get
you
out
know
my.
yeah, some of those. Um, I have no idea what he said here. And here's something, Ben. I'm gonna call you out a little bit. He's never tried cigars, but his wife is Latin.
Ah. So
His wife is Latino, and I forget
Latina,
which
Latina.
okay. Thank you. I forget which country she's from, or where her family comes from, but I know it's she's Latin, and I will say I've never met her. So, okay, she's from Peru. I've never met her, but knowing Benjamin and knowing how much she supports him and seeing pictures, she's a beautiful woman that supports her husband, and really appreciate that because I know Ben quite well.
And like kirasima is like, oh my goodness. That's like the expression is like kirasima or like, oh
Okay, so that makes sense. So after we called him out, he said, "What did I just
kirasima.
get into?"
Uh,
And then
oh
then
my goodness.
Chris says, "Just roll with the insanity," and then he comes back with that.
Yeah. Um, and so um, I'm gonna have to say I enjoyed it, but kind of like how you were saying, I would just. And here's another thing: is like I would have to get my son-in-law on this too because um, I seriously want to try kind of like a margarita with a vodka. I know that sounds, hello. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I want to take the Tex Texas part out of it. And I can like actually say this because I want to make it more Irish because we talked about vodka. It's not just only Russian because like you think about potatoes. When you think about potatoes, where do you think about?
Idaho.
Ireland. Ireland. You should
Idaho.
not think about Idaho. No.
You know damn well what I think about when I what brings me to Ireland. Whiskey.
Yes, but there's more to Ireland than whiskey, okay? There's more to that.
But does
So,
the rest of it matter?
but you know what? We also have phenomenal stout beer. Like
Yes.
that's
So
like
Irish beer,
Irish
the
beer is
Irish
great.
stouts. Hell yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Another thing I want to try. I
Uh-huh.
love your idea of like the flight of the margarita style drinks.
Hmm.
What about if we did like a flight of different styles of mules? So we did like a Moscow mule. We
I
did.
have done that in because that was like one of the things. Hello, Miss Allison. That is like
Hello, Allison.
that is one of the things is like you didn't. I made different mules. Remember when we did the mules? And I made like three different mules because I couldn't decide.
That's right. That's right. You did three
And
different mules, and I did a single mule.
and that's the thing is like I think Texas for and I'm not going to just say Texas because there's other states that are hot too.
Uh
I don't
oh.
want to leave out
Okay,
New
you're
Mexico and
back.
Arizona. What
We
happened?
lost you for you froze for a second
Oh, I
there.
froze. Okay, so I don't want to just like single out Texas because like Texas it is hot, but there's other places like New Mexico, Arizona, all those places. But but my
But
thing is,
it's but Texas.
but I think Texas, like we have our own mule. Like this is the thing is like and people want to know why Texans are so big headed is because I'm gonna piss off a lot of people here. If we seceded for the state, we're the only state that could survive solely because of our natural resources, because of what we have here. You know, because we have deserts, mountains, springs, we have, forest area. And it's because where we are geographically. So like
I
we don't necessarily have our like own guava. We have our own like little what was that one? The blue one?
the
That's it.
so
Oh, I like that. Oh,
you're talking about the Sota where we've got our own
yeah,
tequila style plan.
yeah. So I
We've got
couldn't
our
think of
own
it.
ports. I mean, we got our own port
Yeah.
as
So
well.
yeah. So I mean, I here's one thing that I would love. I mean, this is my home. This is my home state. Born here, bred here, lived here, die here. Um, I would love a journey across Texas with all of our, and we even have our own wines. I think
We've
that
got
would be the,
our own wines, our own whiskeys. We've got a
yeah,
number of phenomenal beers, coffees that
yes.
originate here.
So
We should do it. We should do a trip across a
Texas,
flight across Texas. Yeah, I do want to try one thing I don't think we have done either is a mojito. We haven't done a mojito yet.
we haven't done a mojito.
We haven't done a mojito. Um, uh, we haven't done a Manhattan or Boulevardier.
You did
We've
a. I
done
thought you did a.
I did, but we haven't done that as a specific pairings.
God, we have
Um,
so
I,
many pairings to explore. We need. Are you writing this down? Is someone writing this down? We need to write this.
uh, I where's my secretary?
Oh, she's at the ballpark. Dad,
She's at
gum
the
it.
ballpark. Damn it. Um, a flight of different styles of martinis because we did do one martini with Cynthia Gonzalez, which was amazing. But
Yeah,
there's so many different types of martinis.
and
Um,
chocolate martinis. There's coffee martinis. Um, lemon drop martinis. Could you imagine a lemon drop with a cigar though?
Ooh, that I think
It
that
depends
one's.
on the cigar though. See?
See, I think the ones that I think would be really challenging. I think the most challenging one would be a dry or a dirty martini or a filthy martini with
But
all of the olive juice, and
right.
the olives as part of it. That might be interesting.
I have done that though.
Did you do
And
that on?
and it was like a complex pairing. That's what I would call a complex pairing.
Yeah, that's one where
And
you'd
I
almost
did it
have to do
with
a deconstructive.
yeah, it deconstructive.
Yeah.
So it was with I want to say it was with the Dominican, and it was really enjoyable. It was something that was like I was not expecting. Um, so golly, there's so much out there to explore, and that's why I think that's like so. What I love about us is we are willing to like push the envelope and not stay like with the typical stuff, because how are you going to know what you really like if you don't push it?
You're not going to.
You're not.
So here's something. I know you realize this, but I'm wondering how many of our viewers know this. Is that we're coming up on really quick. I mean, we're talking 4 5 weeks away from our second year of doing this. So outside of a handful, we could probably count on one hand
I'd
the
say one
number of
hand.
shows that we've the number of shows that we've had to cancel for one reason or another.
It's like
Yeah, because even when I was out sick, you still went on. There's a number of times when you were out that I went on,
more me
and
than you.
really, yeah. I mean that
I'm gonna
well
call it
is
like it is.
well there's a number of shows when you were out traveling where I still
Yeah,
went on by
yeah.
myself, or I brought Joe
That's what I'm
on, or I
saying.
brought
Like
somebody
I
on.
was out with no signal, like phone signal or anything, because I was like
Right.
out in the boondocks. You know.
But I mean, what that means is that we're coming up on. We'll have to figure it out, and count it out. But when we hit our second year, we're going to be really close to having done 100 shows.
We we've got to do something like big on that. We used to like be pretty good about like keeping what number of whatever we were on, but it's kind of like, oh, every week we're going to meet, you know. It's kind of been that way.
Yeah, it has been so much of the fact that we're kind of like a staple. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
be here, and I know of a number of shows that went away and then came back, and took extended pauses and such.
Mm-hmm.
We have one thing that we have never done is we have never gone 2 weeks in a row to where we didn't have a show.
Mm-hmm.
Even through there was 2 times that we didn't have a show, when you were unfortunate, had to be out, and it was because we had a specific pairing schedule that we wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do this particular one, and I didn't want to
Yeah.
do it by myself, and it was like weather or something, and it was too late to come up with something else to do for the show because life does happen with us.
Yeah.
I mean, life still happens with both of us.
Sorry, people.
But I don't want to pat ourselves on the back, but I'm going to pat ourselves on the back for what we've
Uh,
been able to accomplish with this.
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay. Beans and cigar. Like, I'm just loving it. Beans to cigar.
Oh, and Bert, since you're here, since you made it, sir, I didn't cheat. I went with Tito's. I went with Tito's like you said.
But I'm just curious, like, because dripping and if Tito sees this, I enjoy Tito's, but I think Tito's is kind of known for as a mixing. Like
Yes, it's
it's more of a mixing. It's not of a sipping. There's very few vodkas, and here's one thing that I kind of want to backtrack around is because people are like, "Oh, I have flavored. I have vanilla vodka. I have cotton candy vodka. I have I can't even think. There's like lots of different vodka flavored vodkas out there. So I would love it if you could explain to the people, like once it's flavored, why it's not really vodka anymore.
we call that an infused vodka. But in order to be considered a true pure vodka, it has got to have all of the what they call impurities distilled out of it. Now the difference between a vodka and a gin is not a vodka. Although that the process is very,
It's
very
similar.
similar,
It's
what
like
they
mirrors each other. It
it
really does.
mirrors each other up into the infusion of the botanicals during the distilling process. A flavored vodka has that flavor added to it after the distilling. A gin has the botanicals, and it's all pure botanicals. It's not a
Not
syrup or
science.
a yeah. It's a botanical that is infused during the distilling process, not after the distilling process. And so a vodka that's like a strawberry vodka, an apple vodka, and the same thing with like an apple whiskey, a flavored whiskey. Those aren't those are flavored whiskeys. You'll never see an apple bourbon, and it can't be a true bourbon. It's now becomes a whiskey because those flavors are added after the process is done. So, with a whiskey, it's added after the process and when it goes into the barrel. With a flavored vodka, before it goes bottled, when it's still in the vat after it comes out of the stills, and it's sitting in the big steel vats, that's when they add the flavors to it. And they're not. I mean, I don't know how you can add a cotton candy flavoring or a bubblegum flavoring or what have you, and it be a pure style flavoring. So that's the difference of it. It's called, and even in by law in the TTA description, it's called a flavored vodka.
Right. Because like a lot of people they'll like raise fists about this. They're ready to fight you on this. It's like insane. Like some of the people
Oh
that
yeah.
come, and I'm like, so how did you get the vodka with that? And then they're like, oh, it was added. So basically, think about this: if something is added, it's flavored because you add flavor, you add things to it to flavor to change it. And it's kind of like what you were saying with gin. And to me, I, and people are going to come at me, and I don't care. And it's just your opinion. This is my opinion. I am not a huge gin person. I'm not because it's too much like because it's very
Hmm.
botanical, and when you have those botanical flavors, it marries, and sometimes it can become overpowering because you don't know what a natural like cucumber or lavender is going to do. Because sometimes lavender can come across as extremely strong, and sometimes when you plant it and you do its thing, it's not as strong depending on the soil. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think
Oh,
just called, and I
and
thought I had to.
oh, you're
I'm
back.
back. Um, so I think with it's kind of like botanical. It has that natural. It has natural oils and natural flavors. Whereas when something is flavored, it's not a natural element to it.
Nope, it's not. And then when you're talking about gins, you've got your botanical gins, which
Hmm.
is going to have always going to have juniper. Juniper has got to be the base botanical on it, but a botanical gin is going to have other botanicals such as lavender, such as lemongrass,
Cucumber,
such as cucumber, a number of other different
raspberry.
botanicals with it.
Yeah.
Your dry gin, your American dry and your London dry, which is the most common types of gins, and you'll
Right.
usually use those in like a gin and tonic, or you'll use that in like a Negroni, um, some type of mixed drink. That's going to be a dry. That only has generally. I'm going to say generally because that you do have some distilleries that'll do one-offs on it. Will only be juniper on that. And a big reason why a lot of people who don't like gin is because of that juniper and the
Juniper.
dryness around it. Now, if that's what you don't like, then I want to encourage you to try different types of botanical gins. And Milam and Green is one that puts out a absolutely beautiful botanical gin on it. It
Hmm.
has 13 different botanicals in there.
Right.
And it is a beautiful flavored drink and one that I would I would absolutely drink. Now I wouldn't drink it neat. I have drank it neat, but those types of drinks along with vodka is much better chilled than it is just straight neat straight out of the bottle. Unlike where whiskey, we can do whiskey, we love our whiskeys straight from the bottles, straight up neat with nothing added to it. You typically don't want to do that with a vodka or a gin. You want to have it chilled.
No. And and that's my thing. Is like, as soon as I got this, I popped it in the refrigerator. It was like one of those
Oh,
things. And then I had, if y'all noticed, I had my chilled glass. It was completely frozen to where you can't see it.
I I
But
had
since
my
y'all,
I had my ice over here, which is now no longer ice, but this was ice. At some
welcome to
point in time,
Texas.
At some point in time, that was ice. But yeah, I mean, I picked up the bottle and I immediately put it in the freezer, sitting directly on top of the ice, so that way it would get a good quick chill. I typically keep my vodka, even for when I'm making my Bloody Marys, or if I'm, making my different drinks. If it's like I made a strawberry mule for my son-in-law the other day, and my vodka was all came out of the freezer.
And and that's the thing is like, if you think of mules, they're made with what? What are
They're made with
typically,
what's
huh?
typically in a mule?
Yeah,
Typically, a typical mule is going to be vodka
or gin, like gin.
or gin or
Yeah,
gin, and,
and
and
those
you'll
you also chill.
and you'll top it off with a ginger beer.
Hmm. And the
I
thing
mean,
is like, they put it in copper because copper keeps it makes it cold.
yeah,
That's why you
it
serve
keeps
it.
it cold.
That's why they do it. People
And if you don't have a
inside of.
copper mule cup, then do it in a put it in your Yeti cup.
Hmm.
Because that steel and that insulation is going to keep it cold, and that's the whole idea of it. You want to make a standard mule, ice vodka topped off with ginger beer. That's it. And
Yeah,
and put your mint or your lemon garnish, or your mint or your lime garnishes. They're typically your garnishes that you go on top of it.
right. But like, you always want to mesh it too. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I think Texans have their thing, and I think that and I wanted to bring out the reason why it's in a copper versus like what we had tonight. I wouldn't have a mule in an insulated cup because, as we know, what happens to the insulated cup, it kind of melts, especially in this Texas heat. Yes, I know it's only June, but we've already hit 90 plus degrees.
Oh, it's 9 o'clock and it's still 82,
Yeah.
and we haven't hit. we haven't hit our summer yet. Our summer isn't May, June, July. Our summer is last part of
Mid-June.
July, August, September. We'll still
And the
be at
first
100
part of
degrees in
October.
September.
The first
Yeah,
2 weeks of October
first
too.
2 weeks of October. We'll come back down to the 90s in the first 2 weeks of October, but the mid July, all of August, all of September, will typically be triple digits,
Yeah.
100 plus.
And,
And
and
that's where you're going to be seeing us drinking the cold drinks out here.
yeah, yeah, that's like okay, we're gonna have frozen beer. Okay, let's pull out the mule, frozen margaritas, and um, that is like I'm sitting here thinking because it gets hot. Vodka. Okay, stay with me on this one.
Okay.
Vodka is used to enhance flavor, right?
hmm
What if you had ice cube vodkas in a drink?
You're gonna have to you're gonna have to do mostly parts water with a little bit of vodka because
Yeah,
vodka's
because
not
it
going to
won't freeze.
freeze.
Right,
It's
right,
not
right.
it's not going to
And that's what I
solidify.
mean. And I'm glad that you brought that up because people are going to sit there and freeze their vodka. You can't because it's got alcohol. So you're going to have like a mixture of it. Um, and that's kind of and I want to kind of bring that up because like for example, you turn 21, 4th of July's. I don't want to say it's coming up, but it's it'll be here before you know it. So Jello shots, that's like a big thing. Is like my daughter for her 21st birthday wanted Jello shots, and she's like, "Mommy, it
You
won't."
have frozen on.
She's like, "It won't freeze. It's still Jello." And I'm like, "Baby girl, what have I told you? Does alcohol freeze?" And she's like, "No." So I'm like, that's when you take it and you add more water than you do vodka. But then the fun part is you can't really taste the vodka. So there you go.
But what you can do if you wanted to do vodka ice cubes
Mm-hmm.
and do that with maybe a couple. I would layer it because you can layer vodka. You
Yeah.
can layer it. So a little bit of water, little bit
Freeze
of
that.
vodka,
Freeze that.
freeze
But you got
that,
to freeze the water and then layer the vodka.
and then
Freeze
water
that.
freeze and then water on top of that and freeze
Yeah.
that. And so it's a multi-part session to do that. And you could theoretically get a nice vodka and then maybe do that with a little bit of whiskey and a little bit of rum. And so the rest of the parts that you would do, say like in a Long Island, to whereas the ice melts, the vodka starts mixing in and giving you that true Long Island.
But I will want to say I do want to say this because um I I do want to say this. It's fun as your children get older. I think you stress out more about them than when they are younger because you have more of control. You're more there. You're
Yeah, oh yeah,
over them.
absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So when my daughter turned 21, and I'm gonna say this, and then someone's gonna say I'm a bad mom, but I grew up very European because, like, there was opportunities where we lived in Spain, we lived in South America, and and it's like when you grow up with a European lifestyle, and I'm gonna say European because that's where most of the influences came across, is you drink wine like 8 years old. It's part of your normal life. They
Mhm.
teach you how to experience. You can drink it at 18 versus the United States where like we can give you a gun and you can join the services, but you can't drink yet. And so I reared my children very European. And so the thing is like when they turn 21, they appreciate the art of it, but yet they already know what's going to work and what they are going to enjoy when they are planning their 21st birthday, and they don't get completely out of their element, if that makes
Right.
sense. So that is one thing that is kind of like, I think it's a rite of passage, and it's really fun, like, as you've experienced that with your children,
Yep.
is, the cigars, them being able to pair whiskey with the cigars and everything. And now that she's 21, she's like, "Hey, mom." She really enjoys my father's cigars. That's just something that she's drawn to. I haven't pushed anything towards her, but she has really enjoyed doing that for her 21st birthday. So I just want to take a moment and just thank all the people, followers, and everybody in our group that wished her. Uh, he started drinking tequila at 6 years old. Uh, and so that's my thing, is like, I wish kind of Americans didn't have that stigma, because it's a part, we're pairing, the European lifestyle in South America, and I want to say everything except for America, is you're teaching your children to pair drinks and food together. And so when she had her 21st birthday, she knew what she wanted with her dinner. She knew what she wanted with her cigars. So that was pretty cool. And I think
That is
that,
cool.
I think that I wish that, one day maybe we will get to have that changed. Who knows? But I think that's another thing, is like, whenever you're planning things like this in your milestones in people's life, that when you're going through something and you know what pairs well together, you can give them an incredible experience, if that makes sense. So there's my 2 cents on that.
I I hope and dream of the day, and it probably won't ever come true, but I hope and dream of the day when parents will step up enough to parent their children
Instead of
that we
society.
no longer need society and government to dictate how we parent our children.
Right.
But we need parents to across
Provide
everywhere
guidelines.
to
Yeah.
step up and to provide the guidelines and to no longer use the school system as the babysitters for our kids.
It,
And and I know that you're in
I want to add
education.
it more to babysitters. I think that a lot, for me, from coming in education, I don't think it's babysitting. I think it's parents who want us to parent their children, not babysit.
I think it's a combination of both, and I really
Both.
saw that when we pulled Morgan out of public school and private school, because we had her in private school for a while, and we started homeschooling her, and we saw the difference there, and it really awakened us as to the level of responsibility that we really had
Yeah.
that we took for granted because of the schooling system,
Right.
and turned around, and not that we looked at the school to parent and to babysit our kids, her, but we saw how much that we needed to unindoctrinate her from what she learned in the public schooling system, because the public schooling system has kind of taken on that responsibility, probably because so many parents gave it up.
Yeah. And that's and I'm gonna talk from that, because there is like parents, like, I'm appalled, and I shouldn't say I'm appalled and shocked about, like, some parents is like, well, why didn't you teach my kid how to go to the bathroom? They're like in kindergarten. They should already be potty trained.
Oh,
Certain things like that. But they expect the school system, and they've given that power to the school system. And the thing is the school system doesn't want that power. We really don't. We don't want that power. We don't want to put our beliefs in. Like I was talking to some other educators, we don't want to put our beliefs on your children, but a lot of parents have made it to where we have to because they don't train and they don't teach their children, which is really, really sad. Um, because like my kids are a product of public school, but my kids don't think like the other classmates because of what their dad has taught them and what I have
Mm,
taught them. And the thing is their dad and I have separate beliefs. So we get like their dad tells them, "Hey, this is my belief. This is your mom's belief." And I tell them, "This is my belief." And we let them research and we don't say, "Hey, don't follow us. You need to come up with your own belief and back it up." So it's kind of like
right.
teaching independent thinking. And it's interesting because their father he's also in education. So he's doing his own separate thing. I'm doing my own separate thing. And we have our separate things with our children that we teach them. So, I mean, I just thought that was interesting because I, as I've grown with her, like with my sons, I wasn't as much into pairing as things, but with her, I was more into pairing, and she's kind of picked up on it. So when she was 21, she was like, "Hey, I want my dinner and my drink to go really well together. What would you suggest?" So I think that was kind of like another thing. And then she also knew what drinks she was going to enjoy, what she wasn't going to enjoy. So it was kind of like a fun way to see it as opposed to my sons. My sons would just say, "Send me cigars and drinks, mom," and she can't do that. So it was a fun time.
I got to see a bit of I got to see a bit of that myself with my two, and with my son-in-law
I was gonna
who's
say your
saying,
son-in-law has stepped it up. Like he has
well,
like he's had a different perspective because you're the only one who's taught him, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
well, he came to me and he's not 21 yet. He will be, but he only
But you're
drinks
his
when
guardian.
I'm yeah, he's on, and his my daughter, she's 24. He only drinks, under my presence or under hers, and he's being very
Mhm.
respectful for that. And he's like, uh, I'm really looking forward to turn 21 because I want to get my TABC, and he can go ahead and get it now. But I want to be able to go to the liquor store and buy different and learn how to make different
Yeah.
types of mixed drinks, and I want to be able to learn how to pair these. He goes, I want to get my wine sommelier like you did, Dad.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and it's like that this is cool, and he's wanting to do it counter typical, if that's a phrase that I can use, so I'm going to use it anyways.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Count,
it's countertypical. It's not
it's
American norm.
well, and it's not young adult, 21-year-old, in that 18 to 24-year-old typical norm where they typically drink because they want to get a buzz or get drunk. No,
But I
these
think that's
two
only in the
drink.
States though. I think that's only in the States though.
I'm thinking
I
so as well because you talk about as we've talked about different people from UK and other parts of the country, other parts of the world. They drink because they want to enjoy the experience and the flavor, not to get the buzz on.
Right. And it's kind of like how I said my parents were very European, and the reason why I say it's European and the why my children are very European is because I grew up, I spent my summers in Europe. We had a house in Spain, we had a house in Brazil. I didn't really, I mean, granted, I grew up American because my dad's like Air Force as you can get, and as American as you can get. But it was like he took that culture, he took what he had when he would go over to England, Spain, France. You go over to Portugal. You go over to Chile, you go to Mexico, and you bring those cultures back. And I had that beautiful experience of that. And it was like, hey, you want to heighten and you want to really enjoy this, we're going to pair it with this wine. We're going to pair it with this tequila, or we're going to do this. And my thing is it wasn't like it was normal. Like when we lived in Spain, I wasn't the only child drinking wine at the dinner table. We were all, because water is not good there. Let's, even if you have the filtration system and everything, it's not, unless you get sparkling water. That is the only way that they really drink water, is agua con gas, or sparkling water is what we say. It's not like where we just drink it out of a faucet and we take it for granted here. So I think it's kind of like that's how my dad brought my sister and I up. And we it very we when we turned like 21, it wasn't a thing for let's go out and get drunk, let's get buzzed, let's get things. And if you look at all the sommeliers,
Hmm.
around the world, and especially the master sommeliers, the youngest one was over in Japan. He hit it when he was in his 20s.
Yep.
And the reason he was able to do that is because they don't have the stigma that we have on drinking.
I
So
guess you
that,
can
that's
almost
just my two
say
cents.
I guess you can almost say that what we're also providing for all our viewers is not just the pairings of cigars and foods and drinks and everything, but also an exposure to a different style of culture,
Yeah.
maybe. No, no, now we're not, and I say a or a different aspect of different cultures because
Right.
we are talking about this and what other cultures, European and South African and South American cultures actually, and Asian cultures actually do with
Mhm.
how they approach food and drinks, and we're introducing cigars.
Right. And and it's kind of like I can't remember who I was like chatting with, but we were talking about like how when you're over in Europe, you know, and last week we kind of even hit on it. Like, you don't go to cigar lounges to smoke cigars like we do here in the United States. You can't smoke cigars like in Australia, in different countries. You kind of have to experience that at home, at restaurants. It's amazing how many different outside cafes, and like kind of like Sebastian with Cavalier. If you've been following him this week, he has been hitting up all these different beautiful restaurants that are outside, and they're able to enjoy cigars. Well, I'm going to say he, because his baby's coming, so therefore his wife is not able to enjoy the cigars like she normally is with him
Right.
because she's expecting. But he can sit there and have a cigar with the mill outside in Switzerland, while here in the United States we can't do that. And like there's other countries like Australia you can't do that. But it's like a different lifestyle, which is to me is very intriguing. So
I think it is too. So, next week,
yes,
do you remember who's coming on the show?
I should, and I think I do, but I don't want to say it just in case I'm wrong. So I'm gonna let
Well,
you say it.
I'm gonna mention a couple of cigars.
Okay. And let
Um,
me, and that way let me guess, because like I've looked at the calendar, but like I'm at the end of the school year, so I'm trying to wrap up everything so I can be done and
so
be on
so
summer
oh,
vacation.
okay. So the very first one I'll mention is Jericho.
Okay. So speaking of that, did you see what I posted last night?
Yes, I did.
So that would be one of them.
Okay. So the second cigar, and as I'm getting a little bit closer, as I'm mentioning more well known that come from this manufacturer, it'll become even more prevalent. But
Okay.
let's go with the next one of the La Passiere.
Okay. Then you also have uh, the no, I can't say that. It. Oh my gosh! It like I smoked it a couple weeks ago. It was red and black. Van
Yes,
Halen.
that Van Halen.
What was that one? Van
I think
Halen.
that's the EH 85 or something like that.
And yeah, the LE, yeah. And then I'm gonna say the Black Lab because like if okay, so if you saw what I smoked and what I posted, because my beautiful dogs, and I'm just gonna give a shout out because here I am by myself wanting to cry, and I don't cry, and I'm like, okay, I'm an independent woman and I can do a lot of things independently and self sufficiently. And it's just me at my house by myself. But when I saw the door that I'd already replaced, I already replaced that door by myself. But then on the other side that I didn't show to Facebook was the wall. And I sit
Oh, the
right
wall,
here in the
yes.
picture. The drywall was eaten out. The I mean, it almost went into
Well,
the
there was part of the trim that's missing too.
yeah. And and as a female sitting here thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to drywall, I'm gonna have to speckle, I'm gonna have to patch. I'm like, that's a lot. And YouTube is great about helping me, but even before I could reach out to somebody, I already had like, Philip said, "Hey, you work at a cigar lounge. There's guys that know how to do this." There he goes. There he see he even said it.
Yes,
So
he even said it. So my next one was going to be the Las Calaveras, and
yes.
then I was going to
Oh,
end up with the Four Kicks.
well, and another one was that here's another one is the TAA. They have released something every year with TAA. There's certain shops, so I'm gonna sidetrack real quick. So the TAA is only certain shops, exclusive shops, very few shops where they can buy a couple boxes. And Crown Head is one of those that has done it every single year, and I have one from ever since Crown Head has done it.
Oh, see, I don't have that.
I
Um,
have a whole um I think I have maybe like 50, I have a whole Tupperware of just Crown Head because
I love Crown Heads, and just to that point of the TAA exclusive, not only does only certain shops are only able to get a certain amount of them, but those shops have to be TAA certified,
yes,
and it's
and
not easy to get TAA certified at all.
so like
Yeah,
yeah, I think I'm only missing 1 year since TAA certification cigars have come out. I'm just saying.
dang, you've gone back in
I've
time
got
to
some
buy
unicorn.
some.
Yeah, and it was funny because someone said, "Oh my gosh, that's a limited edition 2018." Yes, the cigar that I smoked last night because of what my beautiful puppies did. I needed something
I,
special, so yeah,
yep.
I did it.
So yes, Crown Heads is supposed to be on with us next week, and
Woohoo!
I am, we do need to confirm it, one more time, just, to be able to get all the information and the expectations of how it's going to work out, but we're supposed to have Crown Heads.
I don't know what I'm
Um,
gonna smoke. That's like gonna be like they have a plethora of stuff.
Well, you know who's coming out, who's going to be visiting us and joining us in August. So we've got the rest of July, and then rest of June, and then July, we're probably going to be do pairings because we don't have any guests, which that's fine because we're going to be able to explore those pairings, and we're going to need some challenges from everybody. But you know who's coming in August?
Oh yes,
I,
on my birthday. On
August
my
16th,
birthday.
on your birthday.
On my birthday. I'm gonna be 21 again. I'm like stuck at 21.
For
No,
for
actually, I'll be
the
46.
for
I'll be
for the
46. I'm not
I was
ashamed.
gonna say for the 25th time.
Yeah, so I'll be for my 46th birthday.
We
We
are
have some
going to have Pedro,
with Drew
who
State.
is with, and he's not just with Drew Estate, but he's an executive with Drew Estate. I mean, he is
He's a big
basically
wig.
he's Jonathan Drew's right hand man,
Yeah. So
and
if you don't know
he's
who
gonna.
Jonathan Drew is, that's the dude who started Drew Estates.
Yep, the revival of cigars, and really,
Rebirth.
to be on, yeah, rebirth. To be honest, Drew Estate and Jonathan Drew with this whole rebirth of cigars, really from the late '90s up into the 2000s, and especially these past few years with COVID, Jonathan Drew and Drew Estate has been key to that. Has been
And
actually absolutely key to that. We would not be here if it wasn't for someone like them.
and I'm going to do a plainless, shameless plug for them, if that's okay. So they have an event, if you do not know, where it's online, and you can get like a free trip. You can get like a watch that's like $5,000 or $2,000, which is insane. But they have these cigars that they are selling that have not been put out to the public. So it comes with a cigar lighter, a case, and it's like 4 or 5 cigars. I can't remember. I did a post on it, so I should remember.
Yep,
Um,
you should.
yeah. And then, like in June, pretty soon, they are having an online event. And you have to buy the cigars in order to join the online event. And the thing is, you get the beautiful case, you get the lighter, you get a cigar stand, and then you get the cigars. Then you get the online platform for this virtual HERF, and it's like 40 something dollars. It's like cheap. So, and you get a chance to win outstanding prizes. So that's something that they have on. We have them at the Cigar Lounge at McKinney. Not so McKinney. We have them. So make sure, and I'm sure that there's. I know that other retailers have them. So if you're not in that area, find your Drew Estate Cigar Lounge that sells Drew Estate. Ask them if they have this. I can't even remember what it's called, but it's the cigars and all that stuff. So you can enjoy the event online, and you have a chance to win outstanding prizes. So I'm
And
just,
and the cigars that are part of that box are exclusive to that box.
yeah,
You can't get them outside of the box. And the box is it's a beautiful red and
it
blue
is
with the classic Drew Estate,
blue,
artwork.
red, yellow. Yeah.
And
So if you look
and
on my line, you'll see it. Sorry.
and you may not have known this, but at the Barn Smoker in Pennsylvania that's coming up in July,
Hmm.
Leaf and Grain is going to be there.
Yes, I did know that. Actually,
Our,
read that.
our Zach will be there for that. So Chris, we're talking about the exclusive Drew Estate cigars that's part of this box. That you have to buy this
That's
box to become part of
for
this online herb.
yeah. So no, it's not the Barn
It's
Smoker
not the Barn
box.
Smoker
It's not
box.
that one.
It's not.
It's an online exclusive. So if you and here's my thing, and it's like I hate saying it, but if you look at my Facebook, if you look at my Instagram, and I think I might have posted it on LinkedIn, I'm not sure. Don't trust me. I'm not 100% sure. Check it out because I made it kind of like a comic book series.
Hmm.
Um, I did a short little reel on it, and it has all the details on it. So totally check it out, get it, because we're having Pedro on my birthday, August
August
16th.
16th.
Yeah, my
Is
46th.
it, isn't it funny that we had a show that was on my birthday and we're going to have a show that's on
Yeah,
your birthday? I
I know that's
mean, the
craziness.
odds.
I know,
Well,
forever in our favor.
let's. My butt is killing me in this chair.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could
Yeah,
tell because
well,
I'm constantly adjusting.
I had a new chair that I moved because all the other chairs are still outside from the party. So I enjoyed my big rocking chair that is very comfortable.
Yeah, I am not comfortable, and I'm hot because I'm outside, and yes, I'm
Oh yeah,
bitching and moaning. So let's wrap this up.
yeah.
This pairing, folks, I gotta tell you, I was apprehensive about it, but chicken fajitas with unfinished business and Tito's vodka is a
I was
pairing
gonna
to
say a
do.
Rojas cigar is gonna totally knock it out
Yes,
of the park.
a Rojas cigars is a pairing that you gotta check out. Team Rojas, Albert, thank you for recommending this to us. Um, I've got to try it with a different type of vodka and do a vodka to vodka comparison because
Yeah,
I want to know if it's the
N-
Tito's that does it.
Neft. You need to get Neft.
Well, see, we know Neft is a sipping. I gotta go with what's classified as the
Dripping
pure vodka to
Springs.
pure
Okay,
Dripping
Dripping
Springs and
Springs. It's enough,
Tito's.
and I think it's gonna be great because it's Texas vodka, hand in hand, same process on
Yep,
that.
and at about 25, 30 miles apart from each other.
Yep, that's the
All right,
craziness.
next week, Crown Heads. You
Crown
don't want to
Head,
miss
super
it.
excited.
Crown Heads.
God, I don't
Don't
know what
want to
I'm gonna
miss it.
smoke. I really don't.
I'm wait. I'm waiting for you. Okay, your connection stabilized again for a moment.
I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna smoke and what I'm gonna drink. That's gonna be a tough one.
I've got a couple of different Las Calaveras or Four Kicks, LEs or La Pastilleres to pull out to look at.
Man,
Or I may go to one of my local shops that's TAA and see if I can't pick up a TAA.
I
Hmm.
don't know.
All
You're
right.
gonna have to wait and see. You're just gonna have to wait and see. That's all
Yep,
I'm gonna
gonna
say.
have to. All right.
So
So until next week, explore the pairings.
there's something for everyone. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.